Ladies and gentlemen, the senator from Missouri, Senator Claire McCaskil via Skype. Senator, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning, McGraw.
You're calling us from your Senate office. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm sitting at my desk as we speak, and I want to point out that while you're on camera, so to speak, which you're not used to, I have noticed that maybe you did not comb your hair, but we did manage matching glasses today, which I think is very sweet, McGraw, that you went out of your way to get some glasses that match mine.
Nothing like the senator calling out the host of a show to begin with. Not only do we have similar glasses, we also have similar weight loss coaches. Team Charles has helped you lose all sorts of weight.
Yeah, he has. The maintaining is hard, and I crept up a little bit, and now I'm kind of back in the program again, trying to make sure I don't go astray.
Well, it's a struggle we all have, but you look great, and I think it's great that you have given a shout out to Team Charles and talking about your weight as a real issue helps other people deal with their weight as well.
And it is a serious public policy issue. If we reduce adult onset of diabetes by 10% in this country, we wipe out our debt. That is how much of our health care expenditures are going, particularly in the Medicare space, for diabetes and associated health problems. So, obesity is a real problem, and it's hard for all of us. Believe me, I am missing my glass of wine with dinner terribly, but I'm glad I did it, and I feel a lot better.
Talk to me, Senator McCaskill. Yesterday, you were on the panel that questioned the CEO from Apple. What did Apple do wrong, and why were they called up to talk about their tax policy?
Well, they are just a very extreme example of how multinational corporations that have a lot of intellectual property, how they can avoid any kind of taxes. And this is a worldwide problem. Our economies have become worldwide. Our commerce is now international. Companies can pick the taxing jurisdiction they would like rather than one that makes sense based on the facts. And we have allowed that to happen by the way our tax code is written. So really what this hearing was about, as far as I was concerned, was kind of holding up a mirror to Congress and saying, you have created a system that produces results that make no sense in terms of many small businesses having to pay 35% and then giant multinational corporations having to pay zero.
It's interesting. Your body creates the tax law, and then it seemed like some in your body wanted to criticize Apple for taking advantages of the laws your body passed.
Well, and that's why in my questioning I opened with saying that if people want to know a fundamental part of private business, it is tax planning. You are an incompetent business person if you do not plan your business around the pertinent tax code. And that's what Apple has done. On the other hand, I want to make sure that as we reform the tax code, that we don't create favored status with some sectors of the economy. And that's essentially what has happened. Those sectors of the economy that have the most power in Washington have gotten the most favorable treatment. And that's why that small corporation in St. Louis County is struggling under a 35% tax rate, while General Electric and Apple basically pays nothing.
IRS is also in the news, and you've been an outspoken critic of the IRS because of their targeting Tea Party groups. But it's sort of the same issue, because these groups, whether they're Tea Party groups and or Occupy groups, the way the tax code is set up, is it a political organization? Is it not a political organization? The whole system is broken, is it not?
Well, there's two scandals here. The most important scandal is that anybody in the government would ever target anyone based on their political beliefs. That is un-American. It's unacceptable. I have no tolerance for it. I don't care who they were targeting. You cannot target people based on their political beliefs. The second scandal is the Citizens United case created an environment where people can claim not-for-profit status to do political work. Now, we have a lot of not-for-profit corporations that do great work. Frankly, buying political ads is not something that I think should be deserving of tax-exempt status. And that's where we now, hopefully this crisis will not only bring a level of accountability to the IRS, it will also get the American people more engaged in the debate about whether or not we should ever have not-for-profits actually doing political campaigns.
Your point is well taken. When Karl Rove runs an organization and it can get tax-exempt status because it is not political, the whole thing is kind of a joke.
Well, yeah. I mean, if anybody believes that Karl Rove created that organization for the good of the social welfare, I don't think they really understand Karl Rove. And by the way, there are sinners on my side of the aisle too. This is, an equal opportunity sin. There are Democratic organizations that formed that did the exact same thing, taking advantage of this loophole created by the Citizens United case. Now, we've tried to close this loophole, and we have been stymied in that by the Republicans because they like this free flow of anonymous money because they are confident they have more of it than we do. Now, I thought the American people were pretty darn smart last year because all that money that was spent through these organizations, they didn't really win anything. They lost all the races they were in with the exception of one Senate race in Nevada. So they lost, I don't know, somewhere between $300 and $600 million was spent behind the curtain, and it didn't turn out to be very effective. So good on the American people for kind of seeing through all the phony ads.
Senator McCaskill, don't look now, but it looks like some people in the Senate are working together and, shall I say, compromising on some type of immigration bill. What are your thoughts as this moves through the process?
Yeah, we had a 13-5 vote in the Judiciary Committee yesterday, which means there were Republicans who joined with the Democrats in moving this bill out of committee. And, everybody can find something not to like in this bill. The unions are unhappy with certain parts of it. That there are certain sectors of the economy that don't like it. The tech community wants more in their section. So there is lots to not like about this bill. But there is enough to like about it that hopefully we can continue to go down this avenue of compromise and get a decent bipartisan vote on it in the Senate. And then hopefully we don't sit back and watch it die in the House.
Also, we're going to try and break some news here on the very first Skype interview on the local hometown newspaper's website, Senator McCaskill. And that is, according to the Washington Post, is it true that you and your husband and Senator Roy Blunt and his wife had dinner together?
We did. Roy and I joke about this. I mean, if we sometimes say if people in Missouri knew how well we got along, it would hurt both of us politically. Because I think sometimes the bases of our party want us all to be disagreeable all the time and fight with one another. Roy and I disagree on some things, but we both care deeply about Missouri, and we work at finding those things we can work on together. And part of that is obviously trying to be friends. And my husband was out in Washington, and Abby is here all the time. So the four of us went to dinner and spent most of the time talking about our kids.
Who paid?
I paid.
You paid. All right, there's breaking news for you. Senator Claire McCaskil, live via her Washington Senate office on Skype. Senator, thank you for joining us. Be safe, and we'll talk to you down the road.
By the way, I should tell you, Roy promised to pay next time. I don't want him to look like he's a cheapskate. So it's his turn next time, and I'm going to try to find a more expensive restaurant.
Fair enough, Senator. Thank you very much. 9 o'clock,
Okay.
KTRS, St. Louis.